Jai Hind everyone, I am Himanshu Tripathi, and in today's session I am going to discuss about a very famous approach or very famous process that is used in the design thinking method. That process is the double diamond approach. So, let us start our session. So, this is the overview of today's session. That in this session we will explore the double diamond design process, and we will see that how it can be used to empower the engineers to design the better solutions. We will cover its 4 key phases also, and the 4 key phases of this double diamond approach are discover, define, develop and deliver. So, we are going to start with the framework for the innovation. So, the double diamond is a visual model to understand the process of design actually, and it is near the universal appeal rises from its simple focus on both the problem and the solution. So, in short, I should say that the double diamond approach, why we are calling it double diamond approach, we will see it later in much detail, but here you can see these are the 2 diamonds that I have basically used color to denote these 2 diamonds. One is the problem and another diamond is basically resonating or the representing the solution. When these 2 different domains, the problem domain and the solution domain, are shaking hands with each other, that kind of property, that kind of characteristic is being represented by the double diamond process in the design thinking domain. So, double diamond is one of those things that you can't unlearn. It is not possible to unlearn that double diamond theory. Once you understand how it works, you will start seeing problems and solutions everywhere around you. So, that is why I am saying that it is one of the most powerful, one of the most very popular tool in the realm of the domain of the design thinking. So, what is important when we are talking about the double diamond approach or double diamond process? The big idea in the double diamond is that the problem is just as important as the solution. Here we are putting our emphasis on both the aspects. The first aspect is the problem. We need to identify the problem correctly or the rightly, and also we need to identify the solution which is the best fit for that particular problem or for that particular problem space, I should say. So, if we talk about the designers as an engineer or as a management professional, if you are basically designing any particular solution, that I am referring all those guys as a designer. So, if we talk about the designers, so designers are commonly known as the problem solvers. So, as a designer, I am basically trying to solve a particular problem. So, designers won't argue that point because we do solve problems. As I have already told you, we do more than that actually. However, the double diamond shows 2 distinct activities in the design that are very prominent and that are very promising: the problem finding and the problem solving. The next thing is double diamond theory, why it is important? Because it is a huge paradigm shift for the designers to become problem finders, or designers have been working as a problem finders through the 20th century or from a very long time, and the double diamond is simply visually representing those designs in the 21st century. It is comparatively a newer concept, but yes, if we understand this concept or this process, we realize that okay, knowingly or unknowingly, but we are using or we are implementing most of the things that are involved in this entire process in our daily routine, right? So, in a nutshell, if I have to summarize all these importance and about the double diamond theory, I should say the great designs about the double diamond is, the great thing about the double diamond is that even if you have never heard of it, you are probably already using it. This process model has endured the test of time because it's simple and it communicates how the design process feels. So, this was the fact, or this was the information on the basis of which I am saying that double diamond is a very important concept and it is very useful concept as well. Let me tell you one more thing actually, that this double diamond theory is basically used explicitly in the first critical element or the first pillar of the design thinking theory. As we know that design thinking theory is having 5 pillars: empathy, define, ideate, prototype and the test. So, this double diamond theory is very much closely related with the empathy phase, or we can say that understanding the user or understanding the problem correctly. So, when we are going into the deep detail of the double diamond theory, but before going into the actual double diamond theory, we should see that two kind of thinking approaches are basically used in this particular process. The first approach is known as the divergent thinking approach, and the second process or the second approach is known as the convergent thinking approach. So, here I have represented both the two approaches, like divergent thinking approach and the convergent thinking approach. If we talk about the divergent thinking approach, here we can easily understand that divergent thinking means to diverge, to explore more, right. And if we talk about the convergent thinking, that means we want to sum up the things now and we want to reach up to one particular point or one particular solution of that problem. So, I can say, like here in the diagram you can see, we may have innovative or the creative idea. There is a lot of scope for the innovation and the creativity when we are involved into the divergent part or divergent thinking part of this double diamond shape. And finally, we will carry one expected idea to the next level or to the next stage. We will see more detailed diagram, pictorial representation of this double diamond. And here, when we are having many possible ideas with us, so we want to sum up those possible ideas so that we can focus on one particular idea. So, we want to reach up to one focused idea. So, that is the convergent thinking approach. In physics, you have already learned or understood the concept of the divergence and the convergence. This is the same thing, but we are trying to apply both the concepts into the thinking model, right. So, in the divergent thinking, if we have to sum up, then we can say that divergent thinking is free flowing, it is non-linear and it feels creative, right. There is so much scope for being creative here, and divergent thinking can make you lose focus or get lost in the detail. This is the drawback of the divergent thinking approach. So, divergent thinking, most often if we are not careful about it, we can lose our focus, so that we may never be able to reach up to a one particular point. But on the contrary, if we talk about the convergent thinking, so we can say that convergent thinking is focused and the linear approach. It feels like narrowing down to the right answer, right. But what about the drawback about the convergent thinking is, you may miss out on opportunities to explore. If we always try to follow the convergent thinking approach, it is very likely that we can miss out the creativity, because we may not be interested in getting more opportunities. So, the next thing is the grown zone, right, sorry. So, next thing is the grown zone. Grown zone is knowing when to diverge and when to converge in a project, right. So, knowing when to diverge and when to converge in a project is an art, and this grown zone basically was defined, or the transition between the divergent and the convergent mindset is called the grown zone. When we are into the transition phase, we are working with the divergent thinking of approach, and now we want to sum up the things, we need to go into the convergent thinking domain. So, in between that domain, that switching, there is a transition zone that is also known as the grown zone, and it was a term that was basically mentioned by the Sam Kanner and his diamond participation model. It was mentioned here. So, in the grown zone, abandoning ideas is challenging. It's very much challenging, because when we are into the process of divergent thinking, we are having so many ideas and we think that all of those ideas are useful actually. So, if anyone is telling, or if we want to come up with one idea from the divergent thinking and we have to leave the rest of the ideas, it may become very much difficult to abandon those ideas, but it is important to move forward into the project. So, we need to, and or it is required to basically leave all those ideas behind, and it is required to work with one particular idea at a time. That is more practical way, I believe. So, now we are coming to the diamond shape, on the basis of which it is basically known as the double diamond approach. So, here you can see that these are the two diamonds, as I have already shown these two diamonds in some other format in my previous slides. So, we start with some initial challenge. That initial challenge I have mentioned here. Now, we want to focus a particular problem. First, we start with the divergence type of thinking. Then we need to converge all those ideas so that we can focus on a particular problem, right? Then again, when the problem is basically mentioned, or problem is freezed or finalized, we again use the divergent thinking approach, so that we can talk about, or we can think about the possible solutions. There may be so many solutions to solve that particular one problem. It always happens, and after that we need to again converge our process, or converge our thinking process, so that we can reach up to the focused solution. This is the way how we work when we are applying the double diamond process in our design thinking methodology. So, these two ways of thinking from the diamond shapes, I have already told you the divergence way of thinking, divergent thinking, and the convergent thinking, and this is the main reason why we are calling it the double diamond theory, or double diamond approach or process. Now, let us try to understand a little more deeper what is the double diamond and how it is basically helping us in solving the problems in real time. So, the first diamond is basically the problem space, another diamond is basically the solution space, right? And when we are into the first diamond, we are always trying to get one particular problem. In the empathy process or empathizing process, when we are doing it in real time, it may happen we are targeting a particular user group, and when we are talking about talking to those particular users, we may be using different kind of tools there. It may be the questionnaires, it may be the interviews, or it may be some other popular tools. So, we may find out that there are so many problems, so many spaces or the gaps are there where we can fit our innovation, or where the innovation is actually required. So, that is why I am saying that the first diamond is basically focused towards the problem space. Here we have an initial challenge that we need to figure out a particular problem, and to overcome or to achieve that challenge, or to finish that challenge, we start thinking about multiple problems. So, we can list those problems, it may be 100, it may be more than 100 as well. So, here in this problem space, we basically explore, we synthesize, and we try to define what the problem actually is. So, that is the main reason we are calling it a problem space here in our theory. So, here as I have mentioned, the first diamond, here the first diamond is this. First diamond is known as the problem space, often labeled as the research diamond for the first diamond, where you will explore, synthesize, and define the problems. So, now let us quickly move to the further part of that problem space. Problem diamond is so complicated that there are even whole design careers dedicated to it, like UX research or the strategic design. These are the very popular careers which are very popular in even 2025. These careers basically depends or relates with the first diamond of this particular approach or the process, that is the problem space, right? So, before designers develop a solution, they must understand the problem they are trying to solve. This is the main aim of getting ourselves into the problem space, right? So, the next thing is the solution space. We already understood that what is the problem and what is the problem space. Now, we are going to understand what is the solution space or the solution diamond is doing here. So, let us imagine that after the initial challenge, we did the divergent thinking and we did the convergent thinking, and now we are a focused problem. Now, we are having a particular problem which we want to solve, and this is the problem. right. So, this the solution of that problem may come into multiple ways, like every problem can be solved with multiple solutions. So, here in the solution space, again we put ourselves into the divergent thinking domain. So, when we are putting ourselves into the divergent thinking, that means we are listing out the all possible ways to solve that particular problem. It may possible that all the ways may not be as effective to give you a particular solution, but here after listing down all the particular solutions, we need to converge all those solutions so that we can reach up to the focused solution or one particular solution, so that we will be bringing that solution into the market for the feedback or the testing purpose, right. So, this is all about the second diamond, and it is also commonly referred as the solution space. I have already mentioned, and it is also mentioned as the implementation part of that diamond theory. So, first one was the research part, and the second one, the solution space, is the implementation part of the double diamond theory. So, let us see quickly that why this theory is very much important, or the solution space is important. Solution space is important. Before the double diamond became famous in 2005, many people thought of design as only one diamond, right. But even today, the average person on the street will probably think of design exclusively into the solution space. This is this is potential misconception in the domain of design thinking. Most of us basically stuck with one particular problem, that is we basically think that it is the focus problem for our case, and we thought we try to find out the solutions on multiple parameters. These solutions basically are based on multiple parameters, and we try to get the focus solution. So, all the engineers or all the students whosoever are studying the engineering, they are mostly working into this second diamond of this double diamond space. But what is required? We need to understand the entire design thinking process. We need to understand the entire problem to solution process, and for that purpose we need to understand both the diamonds, the first and the second. So, if we talk about the solve the problem right, that actually we are trying to doing, we are always trying to solve the problem right. The solution diamond is so tricky that there are whole careers dedicated to it, like UI design and the visual designs. So, both the diamonds are important for us. Now, let us talk about the 4 Ds of the double diamond theory, and these Ds are basically known as discover, define, develop and deliver. As far as we have discussed about this double diamond approach, you must be able to understand that in the first diamond we are basically involved into the two process. The first process is the discover process, then define process. When we are into the divergent thinking, we are discovering the things. When we are into the convergent thinking, we are defining the things. Again, we are into the development process. Here you remember that we have a particular problem, that is the focused problem. I should say here is the focus problem, and after this focus problem we are into the development stage, and after we apply the divergent convergent thinking, we are into the deliver space. So, these are the 4 Ds in the double diamond theory. I hope that this lecture was will be interesting for you, and very soon we will be meeting with again new topic. Till then, keep learning.